definition alone, they're inferior films. Films.
Sequels suck. Sequels suck. Sequels suck.
Welcome back, Snoogans. This is Sequels Suck, the podcast for all things sequels, prequels, remakes, everything but the original. And this week, God damn it, finally, this has been on the list for as long as the show has existed, I think. And I honestly can't think of one good reason why it hasn't come around before. But I finally got around to buying the 4K and then just insisted upon it happening very quickly. So we're doing Mallrats this week. Cable is here. Regan is here. Oh boy, do I feel excited. How are we today, lads?
Chocolate
Very
covered
well.
pretzel? No, I was just going to say, it is interesting, and the reason why I don't think we've done it until this point is that we had sort of and ahed, is it a sequel? It's a sequel to the universe that Kevin Smith created. It's kind of a prequel story, or it ties into Clerks, so it's a day or two before Clerks. But it's not a direct sequel, so we kind of like, maybe not. We need to wait for something else. But it was kind of like Clerks 2's been on the ticket as well for a while, and but then you mentioned Mallrats, and I love watching Mallrats. I 100% watch it every year. It's probably one of the most regular watched films in my catalogue. So it's like, yeah, let's talk about this. And I actually had talked about this film before on a podcast.
It's worth talking about as many times as possible. How you going, Regan? You feeling snoochy boochy today?
Oh, mate, Snoogans and snooch to the nooch. It's. I haven't rewatched this in ages. I bought a Blu-ray years ago. You know, we were talking last night about, because I know it's the anniversary of the picture coming out, and you know, you guys got the 4K, and there was that whole director's cut thing, which I haven't seen, but just the OG that I rewatched last night again, probably for the first time in, I don't know, almost a decade. And fuck, it's just, I don't know if it's nostalgia or not, but I fucking love it. It is the Kevin Smith trying on the, I'm actually going to make a Warner Brothers cartoon with these two characters. Trying that on, and then eventually he would absolutely go and do that in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. So this was like testing ground for that, where Jay and Silent Bob were like you said, this isn't technically a sequel to Clerks, it just happens within the universe, and the tendrils of these two dudes. And I fucking loved it. It was such a good rewatch. The performances are iconic in a lot of ways. You've got Ben Affleck pre-teeth work, which is always great to see. It was like, oh wow, he used to be a normal human being and not this, beautiful Armageddon guy. What a great picture.
Yeah, it is an incredible, highly rewatchable film. I think like the reason it's wound up on the show, because I know we were umming and ahhing about the sequelness of it. In rewatching it this time and watching it with the sequel eye, or prequel eye, I guess, technically, because this is set a day before Clerks, I think it covers almost all the bases, because if we look at this, like the big wraparound, I guess, idea of why the events of this movie are happening is because Julie dies, and we know that from Clerks, and then we find out in Mallrats the reason she died is because she ran into TS, and TS told her the camera adds 10 pounds, and she freaked out and gave herself an embolism. So it is definitely a
She's fucking dead.
Such a good line,
Such
Reed.
a great line delivery.
And it covers those bases, because we have Jay and Silent Bob continuing on, but we also have the story continuing on and setting up this world that all these characters live in. Willem, even though it's a different actor, is the same character. Willem Black, played by Scott Mosier in Clerks, played by Ethan Suplee in this one. So we've got the recurring characters. We've got the continuing story. I think it's about as sequel as you can, or prequel as you can ask for. And the reason I get confused is because we are also going to chat a little bit on this episode about the extended cut, which exists now, and there's a great Arrow 4K release, Cap and I just talked about, that has the theatrical cut and the extended cut included. I watched both this week. Now, depending on which one you watch, either this film is, if you watch the original cut, this is a prequel to Clerks. If you watch the extended cut, this is a sequel to Clerks, because the big wraparound stories are completely different in ways I had no idea about, because I'd never seen it until this week. But before we get into that, speaking of seeing it this week, when did we first have this film come into our lives? When did you first watch Mallrats, Regan.
It would have been. I discovered it on my own. I discovered Clerks through my sister. She's a couple of years older than me, and she sort of, I don't know even how she got it, but she brought it home and didn't care for it. But I watched it with her, and I was like, "This is my shit." And then I'm guessing that I would have been. When did it come out? 95. Yeah, I would have seen it a few years after it came out. And it would have been sort of, my film buddies at school, like, this is how we want to fucking have a little bit of the Tibet, and like a couple of underage drinks.
Everything legal,
yeah, all legal, and just enjoy this lunacy that's going on. So I would have been probably mid to late teens, and it was one of those ones where it was like, oh shit, you were saying the other night, Cave, was probably the first DVD you owned. I'm absolutely positive I had this on VHS.
Yeah, no, I'm going to have to go under my house and go through boxes, because I did have the VHS at one point as well, but it had that other, I guess, the alternate poster, which was Shannen Doherty front and centre with Jason Lee and that sort of in the background, and we've got that swirly sort of colour, not the standard poster we see that's the comic book cover, but I'm sure I had it on VHS as well, but yeah.
That's the other thing too, like I still am, and I was then unabashedly a comic book nerd.
Yeah.
And this movie, like, I'm a much more zen Brody. All my comics are in long boxes, and they got boards in them, and they're catalogued and all that kind of stuff. I just don't get mad at people about it. But that was the first time I ever saw Stan Lee in real life. What, sorry?
Touch not lest you be touched.
Told you had to handle comics. No, but you wanted to play Little League. Yeah, so that I really dug, and also the credits. And they went on to do this to a much greater extent in Chasing Amy, which is an excellent picture also. But the opening credits with all the different comic book art, they're all legit, 90s comic book artists like Joe Quesada and J. Scott Campbell and the dude who did Jay Lee and it was like, oh shit. And I used to sit there and like look at them and like draw them quickly while they were on screen and shit. Like,
what I found hilarious watching it this time, which I forgot about until I rewatched it, but Ben Affleck, his cover is Buttman, a Batman ripoff, and he would become Batman later.
Yeah.
I was like, oh wow, this film is prescient in so many ways. It really like knew so much more than the rest of us.
I had the subtitles on last night just because I was catching some stuff that I didn't catch before because it was so fast. The dialogue's so quick, like where TS says, how is it that I went from on the verge of hot Floridian sex with Brandy to Man of Steel, coital, yeah, whatever, with you in the food court. And I just wanted to see what those actual words were. But the I've completely lost my point now.
Jason Lee does drop a few French. Is that where you're going to go?
No. I was just talking about something that I'd heard, but I've lost the track. Okay. Don't worry about it.
Floridian was one that I never caught as a kid. I was like, what the hell is that? And then I got on, I was like, Florida.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, at the end where it shows the videotape of him having sex with Trish.
Oh,
yeah.
And he's like, which I never knew that he was talking about.
Oh, the new kids on the block.
New kids on the block. Which new kid do you like? Call me Donnie. Like that was. I never knew why he was saying that, and now I finally get it.
Yeah.
The one that I caught this time that I've said it my whole life and incorrect for most of my life, but when they pull Willem out of the trance and he goes, poopy trim. And I always said he was saying like hoobie trippin' or booby trip or something. And then later I realized he was saying poopy trim. And so I just started walking around. Anytime someone would surprise me, I go, poopy trim. And I didn't realize that was like a little in-joke that Kevin Smith had with his editor. So there's like when he wanted them to cut something, he'd just be like poopy trim. So that was a sneak, and I was like, oh wow, I'm learning so much. This is beautiful. Closer to this film. What about you, Cable? When did this come into your life?
Yeah, it would have been VHS. Crazily enough, so I talked about this film back at the end of 2020 on Chatflix, and obviously Chatflix is a slightly different way of doing things in that the podcast's a bit different. We go through the actors and the director and all that sort of stuff. But one of the debates we sort of had on there was the release of this. Now, this obviously bombed in the States. First weekend, absolute tank, so it never got another show. It was like pulled straight away.
It went up against something really big, and I can't remember what it was. Like they went out, they released the same week as something big of that week. But
Yeah,
I have no idea.
I can't. I should know that off the top of my head, but I can't right now. But yeah, so it bombed. There was contention over whether it actually came out in Australia on the cinemas. I'm pretty sure it didn't, and it wouldn't have because it bombed so hard in America. Like a small, a big, somewhat big budget movie compared to Clerks. You know, they put on so many screens and it bombs. They're not gonna. It's not going to translate to Australian screens. They're not going to show it. So I'm skeptical of it ever coming out on Australian screens. I'm happy for someone to prove me wrong, but I do remember seeing the trailer when it was probably about to come out of the States and there was a lot of possible hype. I remember seeing the trailer at the cinemas before something in 1995, whether that was Die Hard with a Vengeance or something like that. So I was curious of the film. I knew of it. I was aware of it. And then when it did come out on VHS, it was one of the first things I grabbed when it first came out. But also I do remember Mallrats trailers. Remember when videos had trailers at the start of the rentals? Yeah, right? All the kids out there that don't understand that. Yeah, and I remember seeing the trailer for it on videos before as well. So, yeah, I would have seen it probably 96 when it probably would have come out on VHS. Yeah.
It's
Mallrats was going up against Get Shorty, Now and Then, Seven, and Assassins. Those were the films released on the same day in the States.
I watched Assassins
I
last
still
week,
get
and it
Shorty.
fucking rules.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, look, Get Shorty had a cast and a half in 1995. Now and Then was crushing, and Seven was Brad Pitt at peak.
Seven
with
was huge,
Morgan
yeah.
Freeman also at peak in a film that just took the world by fire. So it's interesting though, looking now at what is still, I guess, relevant. I would say, with the exception of Assassins, which has probably fallen into a bit of obscurity, except for superstars like us. All those other films still have some cultural significance, and Mallrats, I think, is probably outshining, maybe not Seven, but it's outshining most of them, if not all of them, in terms of cultural relevance. Now that we've got some perspective,
because he's built a career on his career, you kind of everybody understands it because he not only gives his own work shit like ad nauseum, but he also engages with it in a way that kind of makes it feel like it was more part of the zeitgeist at the time than it probably was, because it had such a huge effect on him. Like the story about the budget and how he was, they signed off on this budget and then he, told Scott Mosier what it was, and Mosier nearly had a fucking heart attack because he's like, what are you talking about? We can't make this movie for that much money. And just that kind of the tumultuous way that the film was made, that's become, it's like one of his stories about when he wrote the Superman script and had to read it to John Peters, like that kind of the mythology around him and his career has made it more significant over time.
But I find it fascinating because this film, like we talked about, bombed, but this is new information to me, honestly. Like I came to this film in the most accidental way. Back in, it would have been 96, 97. I'm going to guess that I actually saw it. It was around the time that Foxtel came to Australia, which for any international listeners is Australia's version of cable. We didn't have not the person.
He's the Australian version of cable. This guy right here.
Oh, so it wasn't Galaxy? Because Galaxy was before Foxtel.
Not in Daylesford, it wasn't.
No, okay.
So Foxtel was the big thing. And suddenly you could have satellite TV and you could have more than 5 channels. And so I had a Sophie's Choice going on, because the thing that we did in my house was we would rent movies every week. I would go and they would rent the movies, and it was just me and Mum. And Mum was a single parent working like for $10 an hour cash in hand at a shitty job. There was no spare cash for fun times except for movies. So when I was like, I want Foxtel, she's like, well, it's one or the other. You can get Foxtel or you can get videos from the video store. And I was like, well, I've seen almost every video in that video store, and there's videos running 24 hours a day on Foxtel. Let's get Foxtel. And we'd only had it probably about a week, and we had the one box that you got, but we had a TV in the lounge room and a TV in my room. So I would unplug the box and then plug it in to the TV in my room. It was, but what else was I going to do? Watch TV in the lounge room like a sucker? No. And I remember my mum was working late one night. I'd set it up. I'd order myself a pizza, and I was like, what's on? And I looked through the Foxtel guide, and it was like Mallrats, and it had just a tiny little picture, and I was like, that looks fun. From the opening monologue that Brody gives
Yes.
pre-credits, I was like, this is the greatest film of my entire life. I watched it start to finish. I was like, I'm changed. I've finally seen a movie that is me. This makes perfect sense. This is everything I care about in a film. What the fuck is going on? I looked through the Foxtel guide. It was on again at like 2 a.m. So I programmed my VCR to record it at 2 a.m. Woke up the next morning to check if it worked. It worked. I watched like half the movie before school. And I went to school and I said to my friend, like, this movie, Mallrats, you have no idea. And everyone was like, we have no idea what you're talking about. And it was one of, I think, probably 3 movies that I had in high school that I cared about, that I actually managed to get some cultural cachet from. One was House Party. I introduced my friends to House Party, and they're like, this guy's a fucking champion. What else you got? I introduced them to Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet, which was a surprisingly big hit. And I introduced them to Mallrats. And Mallrats, those 3 things gave me credit as a film nerd.
That's a fucking good night in, honestly. That's a good triple threat. I reckon you should
pizzas and
write
VHS.
a letter to the Astor and be like, hey.
Hey, speaking of the Astor, they're playing Mallrats next month. So,
Oh, really?
if you're listening to this when it comes out, listeners, you can go see Mallrats at the Astor.
It was the 30th anniversary. You know what they've got on sidebar this Monday night? You know what they're playing?
Jaws?
No. Jaws is during the week. This Monday night, Batman Forever.
Oh, yes.
Lost Boys.
Oh, and Lost Boys. I did see that.
I'm very tempted.
That's pretty sick. That's pretty sick.
Sorry, keep going.
So this was my introduction to Kevin Smith, and then I immediately broke the deal of, if you have Foxtel, you can't rent movies. And I went to the video store because in the Foxtel guide it said from the director of Clerks, and I was like, what is this movie now? And went and found Clerks, and then watched Clerks, and then I can't remember what the timeline was, but not long after, Chasing Amy was there, and I was like, oh my god, he's made more. Like, this is pre-internet. You had to figure this shit out on your own.
Yeah.
But because it was pre-internet, and because it was on Foxtel, and because it was the greatest thing I'd ever seen, I had no idea this movie was a bomb. To me, this movie was honestly, I never gave a shit about whether or not it was a success or not. I just knew I loved it. So until probably, I don't know, as recently as like 4 years ago, I had no idea. And then I heard Kevin Smith do an interview. And I listened to all his podcasts, and I never picked it up on any of those because he was always ragging on like Jersey Girl. He never gave shit to Mallrats or Tusk. Well, he loves Tusk now, and Tusk is great. I love Tusk too.
Awesome. And so is Red State.
Red State, my God, not enough. I got to find a link somewhere so we can find a way to talk about Red State on this podcast. But he is so good at making these movies into something other than just the opening weekend that it never felt, I guess, to people who love these movies, it never felt like a bomb. Like, no one ever thought that this movie wasn't successful. It's become the most important thing in so many people's lives.
Yeah, he's also learned really well how to market it himself. So he takes it on tour the way that they used to.
Yeah.
You know, when you would get a print of a film and it would tour the cities and then, you know, come back around and stuff. So he takes a print and he goes out there on the road and he does a Q&A with it and all that stuff. Like, he's a great promoter. And that's why his films end up doing better than they probably would if they were just dropped on streaming or whatever. Like, for me, it's the you know, the stuff that he did after Red State and Tusk and even Yoga Hoses, in a way, it's like an interesting departure. It's the weed years, you know, and everybody tries shit and some things work and some things don't, but you've got to accept it all. It's like you really appreciate Hail to the Thief, you know, after OK Computer, if you've listened to Kid A and Amnesiac, you know what I mean? You see the journey, you get more out of it. And those films are great and everything, but for me, they're 5. The Clerks, Mallrats, Chasing Amy, Dogma, and Jane Silent Bob Strike Back are fucking, like, that is the guy's thesis on his life, his sense of humor, his religiosity, his you know, his faith-based, you know, ideals and all that stuff. Like, it's such a interesting. He's one of the most personal filmmakers I think that there is, because he just puts it all on Front Street. Like, there is absolutely no edge to the guy, you know?
And it's the I guess the veil has been eroded in recent years as well. I mean, Clerks to Clerks 2 is sort of bookending this period of him, I guess, reliving his adolescence with his friends in various forms. And then Clerks 3 is literally him playing out the heart attack he had that would have killed him. And then the 4:30 movie is literally how he decided to become a filmmaker when he was a young, pudgy kid in Jersey. and there's no like illusions anymore that there's anything different. It's just like, no, this is literally a biography now. I'm not even trying to write fictional stories.
Yeah.
So he's really gone down that path where he's like, oh well, people come to my movies for me, it turns out. So here I am on screen.
He's also he's a really great mouthpiece for just fucking give it a try. He's said it before. He's a why person. You know, you run into all these he's a why not person. You run into all these why people. Like, I want to do this. I want to make a film. I want to write a song. I want to learn to play guitar. Why? Why would you do that? That sounds hard, or that sounds complex, or that sounds like a waste of time. And then you run into people who are like, why not? Like, fucking give it a whirl. Like, he's such a great totem for, you know, maximizing your own creativity. And at whatever cost it is, you know, whether it's selling your comic book collection and then going into credit card debt to make a movie that would then, you know, shoot on Super 16 and, you know, do well in the festival circuit, and then get too much money to make your sequel, and then come back with this little small intimate story about, you know, how your girlfriend went on holiday that you wanted to go on, you know, the story of like chasing Amy as, you know, the girl who had too much experience. It's just because he had a girlfriend who went to fucking Tahiti or something. You know, like I said, maximizing creativity. And he still does it now. Like, when you hear him on podcasts and stuff, he's just like, just fucking get out there and do it. You know, there's nothing better than that creation.
And he's also like, I don't think he gets enough credit for being like a tireless champion for other people doing cool shit.
Yeah.
Like, he's so positive about everyone trying shit. And he's just like, yeah. Like, a thing he constantly repeating is, you know, why would you ever discourage an artist? Like, worst case scenario, they make something you don't like. Best case scenario, they make your new favorite thing. Like, what is there to lose? Like, where do you think all the cool shit comes from?
Yeah.
It's from people having an idea and someone else going, fucking do it, man. Like, he really has nailed all of the things. I think, like, that people who want to, I guess, invest in an artist beyond their art really look for. And it's fucking hard these days to find someone who's like, I really like them, without somebody opening up a closet and being like, look at all these nightmares. You know, he's just like, hey, yeah, like, I'll tell you everything. I'll tell you literally everything.
I fucking eat my wife's ass out at the
I
drop
learned how
of a
to
hat. Like,
suck my own dick. I went crazy and had to go to a mental institution for a little bit. Like, yeah, he's so, like, almost like, what's the word I'm trying to think of? Pathologically honest. Like, he's just like, I'm just going to tell you every friggin' thing that's ever happened to me, and let's talk about it, and let's laugh about it, and let's have a good time. Yeah. And it's amazing. And it really has benefited him no end commercially, but I think it's benefited like us as fans no end. Yeah, man.
I wonder, like, you know, that $8 million budget, and obviously they only made 400,000 or something that was dead in the water. I do wonder, surely they've made the money back over the years through
Hollywood
physical
accounting.
media. Like I said, like, you know, it was definitely on VHS. It would have made some money on rentals.
Well, it was huge. It was one of those huge, you know, as we've all discovered, none of us came to it in the cinema. All of us found it at home.
Yeah.
And obsessed over it.
And it'd be interesting to know, you know, even those sort of figures, what sort of money they were making, because, you know, a Blockbuster's not going to have 50 copies of Mallrats. It would have been one or two, and that's about it. But the crazy thing is, like, going back to how we found this movie as well, like, the one thing that I really loved about this movie was how quotable it was, but it wasn't just me that loved it. A couple of my friends, we really loved it, so it was watched quite regularly. And then when I really got in, you know, at the end of high school and then started working, going to uni, I could not believe how many people, because I used to quote this movie a fair bit, or would just talk to them, and someone goes, oh, Mallrats. And so I feel like Mallrats was the most famous movie in the circle of friends and acquaintances that wasn't a big blockbuster. Like, it just feels like, you know, when you go to, oh, have you seen Star Wars? No, I've never watched Star Wars. Have you seen Jaws? Oh, nearly everyone's seen Jaws, but no, there's always that one or two. But I feel like Mallrats, for my generation, was that movie everyone seemed to have happened to have seen, and maybe it was the Foxtel connection as well. Like, I know a few people that had Foxtel.
But they're playing it fucking twice a night, apparently.
Oh,
yeah.
And
the movies were
on. Like, that was just the evening shows. That was showing it like 5-6 times a day at some point.
So I don't know. And look, that's what I was going to say. Going back to this movie, there's probably some lines I haven't used for a while, but I would drop Mallrats lines all the fucking time.
Yeah, and I would constantly, like, all through high school, I would try and figure out which one of the characters I was just going to base my personality on. And it never went well because TS is pathetic and Brody is not someone that anyone should be in real life. So by the time I got to university, I'd settled on Jay, and that did not go well. That was a bad choice. Just walking around saying Snoopy Booches and calling people bitches without any context is not something I would advise. You talked about the poster before, Riggs, and that was something that caught me when I was watching like the extra stuff and reading some stuff about it. The poster is what fucked them really, really hard. So Mosier and Kevin Smith got this incredible artist to do this incredible poster to make it look like a comic book. They put it up all over Hollywood. They promoted it everywhere, and everyone went, "Is this a magazine? What is this? This is a book? What is this?" And no one realized it was a movie. So no one really decided they'd go and see it because it didn't have any of the actors' names, and you couldn't, even though it was kind of photorealistic, you couldn't really tell. Like, it was Shannen Doherty, who was probably the most famous one at the time of release. Jeremy London was kind of well known from TV.
What's the show he was on?
He was
Party of Five.
No. The pre Party of Five. He was
Pre Party of Five.
Something else that was big in America that I don't think ever came here.
No, I would have. I feel like he was the other one.
Or am I thinking of his brother? Because he's got a twin. Maybe
yes, he does.
He does too. Yeah.
Maybe
Poster
Jason
that you're talking about.
No, I'll Fly Away was the show he was on. That was.
What was it called?
I'll Fly Away.
No idea.
Yeah, no, it didn't come
Was
here.
it to Drew Struzan?
Yes, it was.
It
That's the one?
was. Yeah.
Yeah. So it didn't do anything for them, which is why the poster they wound up getting for the home release was just Shannen Doherty front and center, some squiggly lines, and then Jay and Silent Bob, who were the only really known characters. So like, we'll get the people who like 90210 with Shannen, and we'll get the people who like Clerks with Jay and Silent Bob. And
No, it's not Jay and Silent Bob, is it?
I'm pretty sure it is Jay and
No,
Silent
I
Bob.
thought it was Brody and TS in the background.
Is it?
Yes.
I'm sure on the.
I think you better Google that, unless there's another version.
Also, if you were to ask me in 1995, in 30 years' time, which of these cast members will still be alive?
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sad.
It sucks. It's fucking horseshit, man. I mean, it would suck if anybody, but it's just like something dirty about Shannen Doherty getting it. I don't know.
And you know what?
I'm getting my covers mixed up, so there's, I don't know if it'll unblur. There's this one.
Yes.
But then there's also the swirly one. The swirly one has Brody and TS.
Yeah.
Anyway, no one cares about that. But the poster was a big issue. But yeah, I forgot the first run through that I watched this week that Shannen Doherty had passed away, and I was just
me too. Until she came out, I'm like, oh, this sucks a ball because she's so good in this.
Yes, 100%.
I didn't remember how good
she really gets it.
Yeah, she gets it, but she's so good. Like, I think she did get a bad rap years later with Charmed and what was happening there, and who knows really what was happening, but obviously some of those girls butted heads and then she was out of that show and all that sort of stuff. But she is so good in this. And when she did pass away, that was one of the first things I did. I went and watched Mallrats again, and you go, she just hits it out of the park. Like
unbelievable.
Yeah. So
the comedy is like, for her, because she's so furious for the majority of the movie, it does kind of have that Brenda feel about it, but because it's gags, you forgive it. But she gets also those really, like, Kevin Smith does this really well. He drops in these little dramatic moments of like, I think about all those people, and then I cry because I have nothing better to do than fuck you. And she throws in
incredible monologue.
Like, it's really, really. She had it. Like I said, she did the reading. She had to be a real person. But she also had to be with this cartoon character. Like, there is absolutely no way in real life that scenario would work. That you would have that particular woman with that particular man for anything longer than a week. And, I don't know how
I don't know
much
about that. I don't know about that.
Yeah?
I don't know, man.
If I was to wake
you never
up,
met my wife. Like, really, it was just like that was that relationship.
she had to put up with your fucking shit. And,
just this fucking idiot man-child with someone who is far too smart and far too good. I was like, no, I like, no, it can happen.
It's you are batting well above your average, but
as most men are.
That's absolutely. People sometimes look at me and my partner together, and they're like, "Really? Is this how did you lose a bet? What's going on?" When he wakes up and she's like rapping him on the head.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
and the first thing he does is like look everywhere for
the controller?
and it's the controller, and she's like, I'm finishing my game. And he's like, look, I'm up however much. You know, the whale, Hartford, the whale. They only beat Vancouver like once, maybe twice a lifetime. Like he's talking about hockey, which I actually get, but
he's talking about Sega hockey. He's not even talking about
Sega boy.
Yeah. But just that, if I woke up immediately and it said I'm going to take you to breakfast and then started playing video games, divorce, immediate divorce.
Yeah, but see, you can do that pre-marriage. I think you can kind of get away with that, but then look what happens. He got dumped.
He did get dumped, and she was ready, locked and loaded. The whole.
I could have had it framed before he got here.
So
oh man, she calls you callow in here. You said it like it's a bad thing. It means frightened and weak-willed. Shit. That's the only part of the letter I thought was complimentary. Like that was one of my favorite
I remember
lines,
that vividly. They would run that like so many times when this was around. The starting of this movie where we get TS going to see Brandy and the breakup, and then him sort of running straight to Brody, I think is just an incredible way to kick off a movie. And we're setting up immediately that link to Clerks. We're setting up like, all right, both these guys are fucking up on the same day. It's great. It's not how it was intended to be. It's not what Kevin Smith wanted. The only reason this movie turned out the way that it did is because this is the only movie of Smith's that either Smith or Mosier didn't edit. Universal was like, you guys can't edit this movie. You're not allowed. You need a real editor. And the real editor was like, this movie needs to hum. So the original version of this movie, which you can watch in the extended cut, and this is going to sound insane to you, Regan, if you haven't watched it, because it's insane. The original, it starts at the governor's ball, and Mr. Svenning is there talking to the governor, trying to get a check so that he can fund a TV show because he wants to level up. He doesn't want to do the hosting of the lotto that he does anymore. He wants to go and become a bigger producer. And so she's like, yep, you've got a check. We can do that. She's a bit drunk. It's this whole event where they're like honoring her, and she just wants to get smashed and get out of there. Meanwhile, Brandy's up on the fucking roof with a telescope looking at stars for reasons I don't understand. And TS joins her up on the roof dressed as like an old-timey soldier because he's in a musical that they're doing for the governor. Yeah. Civil War soldier.
Hang on a minute. What the fuck are you talking about?
Just wait. And he's dressed as a Civil War soldier because he's in a musical, and then they get in a fight because Brandy's like, oh, by the way, I've got to go be my dad's game show, so we can't go to Florida. And he's like, what the fuck? And they get in a fight, and then as she's running away, he accidentally gets the gun tangled in her hair, and they're trying to untangle it. And then he like gets her to lean down so he can untangle it, and security sees this and thinks that he's trying to assassinate the governor. So they tackle the governor and then start shooting back at him and Brandy. And then they have to try and explain, no, this is all a hilarious misunderstanding. And then Svenning, to get Brandy out of trouble, has to say, like, actually, that's my daughter. She's not trying to kill you. And the governor rips up his check and is like, no money for you. And so his only fallback plan is to, like, go and run this game show in a mall to try and, like, get the other producers to fund it. And that's why in this, those two producers, if you remember the line, say there better not be anything like what happened at the governor's ball, because there was a whole thing with the governor's ball. And the wraparound story has nothing to do with Julie. The whole movie, there's a TV crew chasing TS trying to get an interview. There's Brody like trying to throw them off the scent. There's people who come up like, you're the guy that tried to kill the governor. Like when they're in the car park and that guy comes up and says something to TS and he punches him in the face. That exact scene happens. Only the guy comes up and is like, you tried to kill the governor. And he punches him in the face. When Jay first meets him and he goes, look who it is, the mad fat shit killer. What he actually says is, look who it is, the guy who tried to assassinate the governor. And I didn't realize till this time, you can't see Jay's mouth move when he says mad fat.
So it's all ADR. Okay.
Yeah. So they completely ripped out the core story of this movie, which is the whole reason that anything in this movie is occurring is because they almost killed a governor by mistake, and it ruined everyone's lives. And now everyone, like, that's why Svenning hates TS, because he ruined his career. And that's why, like, Brandy's like, we can't be together. And they keep making up and breaking up all through the movie, like, multiple times. She's in it way more in the extended cut. It's like over a half an hour longer.
Is it Claire Forlani?
Yeah, Claire Forlani. Yeah. And
who is British?
Yes, which I only just learnt this week.
British to the core. What? You didn't know this?
No, I had no idea. No, Kevin Smith says
not real fans. Not real fans.
No, clearly not. Yeah. Can I just ask a question?
Yeah, go right ahead.
A couple. What the fuck? So did it not work and they reshot the beginning? Because that scene kind of happens where he turns up and he's like, come on down, Brandy Spanning, I'm taking your ass to Florida, and then he tells the story about the woman dying in the pool.
So that's not in it. So Julie doesn't come up at all.
It's a reshoot. Okay,
that wasn't in it at all. So, and that's what I was saying at the start. So if you watch the original version, Clerks is a prequel. Mallrats is a prequel to Clerks. Yeah. But if you watch the extended cut, it's a sequel because
that
all of the Brandy stuff is gone.
Completely.
Never happened.
Okay, my next question is, which is better?
The original by a country mile.
Yeah.
By like
I can't even it sounds like you watched Mallrats and Glory and then went to sleep.
Yeah,
and you mix them together.
It sounds horrible, because you don't want to. I don't want to bag it, but going what we were saying earlier, sometimes you just got to try something, and obviously Kevin was pushed into you've got to make it a movie. Here's some money, and who's going to say no to that? I think the reason this whole start got ripped out because it does. How long does it go for, Gus? I reckon it's good 20 minutes, and it's quite slow.
The
it's
opening.
all exposition. Yeah, it's a long. It's a bit of a slow.
Really, really slow. Yeah, it's really, really slow, and as a result of that, you don't have Brody's opening pre-credits monologue where he talks about his cousin jerking off on. No, he talks about his cousin sticking the cat in his ass. Yeah, that's not in there. You don't have all the shots of all the funny titled
rug munches.
Yeah. None of that's in there.
So clever.
So the movie doesn't start by setting up Brody as a hilarious and weird character. It doesn't start by setting up the mall as a character. And it doesn't start it actually starts by setting up TS to be a massive piece of shit. Like the way he talks to Brandy and the reason she dumps him is like, oh yeah, because you're a massive piece of shit. And
he kind of is anyway.
I mean, he is, but even more so. There's absolutely nothing to root for. And because I watched that first this week, when I rewatched the original version afterwards, and you can still kind of see the bits where he's a bit of a dick, knowing what was also in there, I was like, this ending doesn't work if the other stuff's in there. There's no reason on earth that Brandy would get to the end of the movie and even remotely consider being with him again because she's so angry that he the dad's career at the start and he just makes it worse at the end.
Yeah. If you go back and you watch the ending of the game show, you can actually spot the reshoots. Have you noticed that, Gus? Yes.
Yeah. The lighting changes quite drastically.
Yeah, and I think her hair's a little bit different, and obviously some of the shots are closer.
She's black, it's fucking weird.
Yeah, but that's the thing, because some of the dialogue references the governor's ball and some other stuff that was obviously going to get ripped out, so they had to, I guess, rework some of the dialogue.
I just thought it was non sequitur, and they were just sort of saying stuff or whatever. But yeah, it's I can't even imagine Imagine if that was the one they released.
I mean, it wouldn't. I don't think it would have become the success. It is also way slower. You talked before about how the dialogue is really zippy. They use alternate takes in the extended cut. And a lot of them, it's way slower. The deliveries are much more flat and deadpan, and so it doesn't have that bouncy kind of cartoon feel that you talked about. They don't feel like cartoon characters. They feel like kind of losers, honestly. In the extended version that you watch, you're kind of Shannen Hamilton kind of has a point. You guys are just fucking losers. You really are. And Brody's still redeemable, but TS is irredeemable in the longer cut. He really is just a fuckhead.
Yeah, and no, as long as he's in the consensually having, doing what he's doing to those women. You don't want to kink shame anyone. As long as everybody says yes, he's not a bad guy. He's just he
goes to jail for statutory in both versions. But Mr. Svenning also goes to jail. He also goes to jail in the extended version because of all the horrible things that Brody says, because the show is live to air, and Svenning is the producer. Brody breaks all these FCC regulations, and for some reason I can't remember, goes to jail. At the end
this is almost as big as a revelation as that I found out that in the original cut of Clerks, Dante gets shot.
Yeah, it's kind of up there with that. It is a vastly different film.
Wow.
And it's longer. It's by the time they get to the dirt mall in the extended cut, you kind of what's going on? because in the
Well, actually,
the original cut, that's like a bit of a reprieve. Where you're like, oh, we can slow down for a second.
I really want. I almost want to stop the podcast and go, Regan, go watch the director's cut or the original cut.
I did look for it as soon as you mentioned it last night. Because
even
it was on anything, but
like Gus said, a lot of stuff was repurposed where they did the ADR or they just used the same shot and they changed the dialogue to match what they changed it to. Even to the fact, you know, when Svenning's in his towel and so he's boxing and he's, you know, whatever, and towel dry, that was repurposed in that scene. That was actually a reporter looking through his window because what had happened the night before.
Reporters to go and watch. That's right. Brody gets on the news and tells everyone that Mr. Svenning actually is a Satanist and holds sacrificial Satan ceremonies at his house. And that's another part of the reason I think that he gets arrested is because TS wants to go and talk to Brandy. He's like, run interference for me. And Brody's like, all right. And he gets in from the news crew. He's like, yeah, I live next door to this guy for 8. So Brody doesn't live next door to Mr. Svenning, but in the original cut we all saw, when he sees him, he says, hey, Mr. Svenning, Brody Bruce. He's like, oh, my neighbor. And he sounds confused about it. It's because in the extended cut, he tells him, like, I'm your neighbor. And he's like, oh, okay. But he doesn't know he's lying. He's just like, I've never known you're my neighbor before. So things like that pop in.
I'm borrowing the 4K off one of you.
You have to watch it. It's
because this is a whole new thing that's going on.
But here's what I would say about it's slower. I much prefer the original by a country mile. But as someone who loves Mallrats as much as Cable and I do, the way that I look at the extended cut, it's like if your favorite band releases a B-sides and rarities album. Like if it was the first thing you ever heard from them, you'd be like, okay. But like if the first thing that you hear is OK Computer, and you're like, holy shit, and then you hear like a B-sides and rarities from Pablo Honey, you're like, that's kind of interesting. Like, cool, I'm glad, like, I know that. I'm still really glad that you kept those 10 tracks on OK Computer the way they are and didn't fuck with that. That was perfect. Like, it's that. It's great to watch Mallrats and then great to watch the extended cut and be like, wow, I can't believe this was almost the movie. And I'm glad I get to see some extra stuff from the history of one of my favorite films. Now I'm going to go right back to watching the original. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
When nobody is a fucking Civil War reenactor.
Here's the question then, regardless of the cuts, you guys talking about this one, it means a lot to you. Is this your favourite Kevin Smith picture?
This is a very difficult question.
Difficult, but I'd probably almost say yes, only because it was my introduction. Like Gus said, I didn't know of the existence of Clerks until I'd seen this, and I was like, I went back, and obviously Clerks was something you could hire. This one, because it was the entry, and there's so much about it I like. I do enjoy some of his other stuff, but I feel like without this, I wouldn't really have had that introduction, if that makes sense. And I think for me, I think this stacks up. Listening to the intro on and again, for people that probably haven't necessarily seen it, Kevin Smith does a new intro on the Arrow disc that you can listen to. What goes for 5 or 6 minutes, Gus, and it just talks about how he's even come around. Like, he was so disappointed at how it was received, and it didn't make money, it bombed. But more and more people come up to him, and Gus and me would be in the same boat. They're like, Mallrats was our introduction to you, and we love Mallrats. So, and I think he's over the years realised how much it is well loved, and was for a lot of people their first Kevin Smith experience.
Yeah.
I think it's I've kind of lost my track there, but
I was asking if it's your favourite or not.
I think so. I think for me it's the most quotable. I can easily put it on, jump in anywhere, have a laugh, and it's probably the one I've watched the most with friends. Like, I feel like I've had friends that love Mallrats, but maybe I love Chasing Amy as well, but I think that's emotionally it's a bit more, there's a bit more to it, whereas it's not as lighthearted as Mallrats is.
Much more of a drama.
And same with Clerks, some people are a bit funny about it, black and white, a bit talky, some other people. Again, it's just, I feel like the one movie everyone seems to agree on, I was like, we can watch Mallrats. Like, that's just, I don't know, it's a bit more communal, if that makes sense.
And Jane Silent Bob Strike Back, the kind of a good kind of...
Yeah, I back and forth. I think it is. I think like last time I did the list for myself. I'm like, what's my Kevin Smith order? I think I had Clerks first, but if I'm being really honest with myself, I think it's just like, oh well, Clerks was his first one, and it's like it's more, it's more him and it's more real, and it's like it's amazing that he made that with credit cards and just some friends, and he turned into this incredible thing. But I think in terms of, like, if I'm reaching for a Kevin Smith movie, and I can pick any movie to just sit down and watch at any time, I think 9 times out of 10 it's going to be Mallrats because it's just the one that feels the best to me. I think this is my favorite. I think probably like I think Dogma might be his best, and I think James and Silent Bob might be his funniest. But I think like this is my favorite. There was a brief period of time where I said Red State was my favorite one because when that movie came out, it just blew my fucking hair back. But in the arc of time, I think it's Mallrats, baby. It's the shit.
It's interesting though because it was like we were saying when we did because we've done a few of the Indiana Jones pictures together now.
Have we?
Clearly, the best Indiana Jones movie is most well made is
Temple of Doom.
Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah.
My favourite is Temple of Doom.
Yeah.
Correct.
That doesn't mean it's a better movie than,
Yes, it
or I
does.
think that it's a better movie than Raiders. It isn't, but it's my favourite. So Mallrats doesn't necessarily have to be his best movie. It's just
Also,
your
a
favourite.
prequel to the first one, just like Mallrats. So
Exactly.
And the second movie.
It all makes sense.
sometimes the second one that's set first is the best.
Yep.
We talked briefly about Shannen Doherty, but I wanted to talk about a couple other people in the cast.
Yes.
Firstly, the man, Stan Lee. It's so weird to think that cameo in this movie is just not a surprising thing for modern audiences because he became the cameo guy who's just in every Marvel movie, but he wasn't even going to be in this movie. Smith didn't write the part for Stan Lee. He wrote it for a Stan Lee type. And it was one of the producers, I think Jim Jacks, who said, why don't you just fucking get Stan Lee to do it? And Kevin Smith's like, oh, I don't know, like how I'll get in touch with him. And Jim Jacks is like, I have lunch with him every month. We're friends. I'll just send him the pages. And so they send the pages, and Kevin Smith tells this great story about how he sent the pages to Stan Lee, and Stan Lee called him up and was like, yeah, look, Kevin, hey, I really appreciate you writing me that part. I'm just a bit worried because you talk about, you want me to say in the movie how I lost this girl and how she was the love of my life, and I just think that might like make my wife upset, and I don't want to hurt her feelings. Like, I don't want people thinking this is a true thing. And Kevin Smith's like, oh, of course, I understand. He's like, well, is there anything we can do? And he's like, maybe if I had like another scene where I like explained that was all a lie I made up or something like that. And Kevin Smith was like, yeah, of course, that's a great idea. Like, yeah, we'll definitely do that. I'll write you another scene where you explain to the. And he's like, okay, yeah, that sounds good. I'll do it. And then they were on set and doing it, and Stanley was crushing. He knocked it out in one day, and he was like, my God, this guy's amazing. This is so good. And then him and Kevin Smith became friends, and he said it was like 10 years of being friends. They were talking about it. And he was like, Kevin, did you ever notice that before that phone call, I had one scene, and by the end of that phone call, I had more scenes. And Kevin was like, "Did you
Totally
just
fucking
say that to
gaslit him.
get?" Yeah, he's like, "Yeah, I just wanted more scenes in the movie." It's fucking amazing. What a
He
champion!
was very good at self-promoting, much like
He was
Kevin himself.
incredible.
Like,
He was
A bit of a
incredible.
media whore. Bless him. He wanted to be an actor, like,
And he's good at it.
yeah.
He's good in this movie. Like, I knew who Stanley was, but not in the way that people do these days. When I watched it, I was like, oh, the comic book guy.
Yeah.
Cool. But if you don't know who he is, he just seems like this really cool, sage, older guy who comes in and just drops this really cool monologue and then, like, is out. And you're like, that was fucking cool. That guy was great. He's a really interesting actor.
I didn't realize that it was him. I thought it was an actor playing Stan Lee.
Ah.
And it wasn't until years later, because I'm fucking watching the credits and paying
Yeah.
attention to names and all that kind of stuff.
Stan
It wasn't
Lee
2 years
himself.
later. I'm like, oh, it's the very man. But yeah, it's that scene where he talks about, the characters that he went on to create after that heartbreak. Doctor Doom wears a mask, to cover his own mangled form. The Hulk is a normal man 1 minute, the rage of emotions the next. Like, that's actual shit. That's real. That's Kevin. And if you've ever listened to his podcast, particularly the early episodes of Fat Man on Batman, where he interviews,
Yes.
like
Oh my
Grant
God, such an
Morrison,
incredible
for
series.
instance, he really gives a shit about that stuff, and that was kind of the first taste of it, really. And then you would find out later on, how into it he is, and he went on to write just an incredible run on Daredevil and Green Arrow as well.
Green Lantern too. He did
kind
a
of
great
gave
Green
little
Lantern
bit
series.
of
Not Green Lantern.
credence to it,
Green Hornet series.
Yeah,
I love.
Green Hornet. Yeah,
really good one.
And the one of my favourite lines, and this is kind of indicative of Smith, because even though he's a soft, gentle-hearted person, he's fucking into hockey, which means he likes throwing hands. Where they won't let Brody into the comic shop, and he's like, "What do you think? A guy just reads comics? You can't start some shit like that's
Fucking
that's
incredible.
Kevin saying comic book readers can be hard too,
Yeah. Immediately followed by the guy with Stan written all over his head. Again, and as soon as TS approached him, he goes, "Don't hit me!"
Yeah,
Like, that's the other side of comic guys.
10 live signing comics.
Okay, I guess we're talking
Fuck
about
you, fanboy.
Stan
what's
Lee
that?
and Shannon Doherty, but does it blow your mind how good Jason Lee is? And this was his first movie, and he's
like-
kind of an accidental casting in a lot of ways. Like it wasn't like it's a bit like Matthew Lillard in Scream. Like it was kind of like he came in, a friend said, "Oh, just whatever," and he knocks it out of the park.
He's phenomenal.
Just like, and I know he would go on to kind of do that role a little bit in Kev. Like, I mean, if you look at that character, and then if you look at who is he in Chasing Amy? Holden's
Banky.
the Banky. It's basically the same character. But he would go on to do some interesting work. Down
This is
the
the
line,
fucking Tracer.
Vanilla Sky and the Earl show. It's. But this in particular, like he just fucking. It's really hard to make that guy likable. And in the end, when he says to Shannen Doherty, he's like, "You've got my heart." You
Totally buy
get
it.
You really believe it, and that's not easy. I don't think that Jeremy London could have, if they just switched it, I don't think you would have believed it,
No, not at all. And I think he goes toe to toe with like the stuff we were talking about before with Shannen Doherty. Like he matches her perfectly. The stuff that he does in the game show, the stuff that he does with Michael Rooker, like he goes toe to toe with Rooker.
Yeah,
That must have been intimidating as hell. Like Rooker, who has gone out of his way to make himself look like Lex Luthor in this movie, to be even more fucking intimidating. Stan Lee, he's the guy there. Stan Lee's giving this beautiful monologue, and he's like, "The thing is, his whole body is stone, like even his dog, like." He's incredible.
it's a superhero secret.
But you touched on the other one, Jeremy London. Watching the movie this time, for the first time in my life, I was like, this guy's not very good in this movie. He gets all of the really wordy, like overly written lines that every other character can make work. Like Shannen Doherty has a pretty wordy monologue when she's talking about like, when you told everyone at my grandmother's funeral could see me through your dress. I took it with a smile. Or her monologue at the start. Like she really has some wordy stuff, and it just comes out so effortlessly.
I think,
when
I was going to say, I think
talks,
I agree with you. Like Jason Lee also has some like quite, I wouldn't say difficult dialogue, but quite, like you said, wordy, quite, just for someone that hasn't acted before or wasn't
he crushes it.
an experienced actor. Like he sells it. Like every time he speaks and says words, and he speaks French, and he's believable as a character. And then you have Jeremy London. I agree. Some of his overacting is terrible. I said this actually on the couch. Yeah.
They're talking about the proposal. He's like, "When were you going to propose?" He's like, "At Universal." He's like, "When?" He's like, "When Jaws popped out of the water." Like he looks confused by his own sentence.
Yeah.
He's like, "When Jaws popped out." I was like, "What the fuck are you doing, man? You're the one with the information. What are you talking about?"
With particular lines of dialogue, Smith has a tendency to play sort of verbal hopscotch. There's words that get missed and mixed around, all that stuff. But yeah, you got to read the intonation, and something like Brody saying about the parents teaching their kids to fear the escalator. Some parent. I don't care which one. And that's that huge gap, and then that line, which you don't need. Like it's almost a parenthetical, but you've got to feel the rhythm of it.
Respect that escalator.
And I still say like, holy shit! Like
that's how I say it too.
With that intonation, because Randy dumped you. That's his delivery is. He really gets the writing, and Shannen got it as well.
But I want
the other person who gets it really, really well is the woman from Chasing Amy,
Joey Lauren Adams.
Jolie
Renee.
Adams, who was
sorry,
dating
Gwen.
Smith
Gwen.
at the time.
Yeah.
She
yeah.
gets it as well. Like she knows where to hit it, and you know the particularly when she's talking about dating TS, and she's like, you know, you cheated on him all the time. She's like, capricious youth doesn't mean I can feel bad about it, you know. Or you bang Rick Derris on the pool table, you don't get to see Smokey.
It was a costume party. No one could tell it was
like
me.
Burt Reynolds, you know.
Except for the mustache.
There's a lot of people who really got it, and Jeremy London didn't. And it feels like maybe he was a little bit of Universal wants you to cast this person, you know.
Well, I think he was the quote unquote name, because they didn't think they could get any name. And then Shannen Doherty, I think, had just finished on 90210. Like her episodes hadn't finished airing, but she'd finished on the show and was like, I'm looking to do movies. You know, I've heard this Mallrats thing is going around. What's that? And Kevin Smith was like, we could get Shannen Doherty.
Yeah.
Yes. But I can't remember if it was Renee or Brandy. I think it was Renee. I think Renee had been promised to Joey Lauren Adams.
Yes.
But not by Smith, by the producer. The producer was like, yeah, we're going to give you the lead in this movie. And Smith was like, I haven't even seen this person. Like, what are you talking about? You can't do that. And he's like, no, trust me, you're going to love her. And Smith was like, she's great. And then Shannen Doherty became available. And the other producers were like, Shannen fucking Doherty is playing the lead. What are you talking about? Not this other actor no one knows. Yeah. And then after they wrapped Mallrats and Joey Lauren Adams and Smith were dating by that stage, she got another gig. And Smith talks about he was driving her like to the airport to fly home from Minnesota after she wrapped on Mallrats. She's like, I got another gig, and he was like, what is it? And she was like, Biodome with Pauly Shore. And Smith was like, you just did Mallrats. This movie's gonna make like $800 million. Don't do fucking Biodome with Pauly Shore. It'll kill your career. And then Biodome went up doing like $100 million.
Yeah, right.
And Mallrats did not. But yeah, like all of the cast in this, it's one of those movies where I just thought, because I love the movie so much, everyone in this movie was just super famous and like had been in everything. And some of them kind of were. Like Claire Forlani had a moment where, you know, she'd meet Joe Black and she'd a couple other things that she'd pop out and be like, oh my God, yeah, it's Brandy. Joey Lauren Adams was fucking huge in the late 90s. I fell in love with her in Mallrats. I don't think it's ever really gone away. Like just absolutely. But you know, I was never really in love with Shannen Doherty in this movie until this time. I was like, oh, fuck. Like,
Yeah, she's
now that I'm a bit older, I get it. Like, you really are the shit.
And she's got his a copy of Punisher's War Journal
Punisher War
number
Journal number
6.
7, number 6. The remote to TV and his copy of Fletch.
Yeah, and the remote to my TV. So good.
But the big
scene
one
with them in the scene with them in the elevator is fucking fantastic. You know, Kimmy, the guy looks like a date rapist. Like he's so incensed about what's happening.
No, the beat to attack.
And he's like, yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
That's so good.
But that's what I mean. That's why I think he kills it. He just feels naturally like, I don't know.
Perfect.
That's him. I wonder, like, you talked about the delivery. Maybe Jeremy London didn't get it as well. So I don't want to totally bury him. But I think some of his line delivery is terrible. And like you said, maybe he was confused on what, you know, again, now that we find out that the story was changed heavily in editing, you wonder whether, you know, it's a bit like some of those movies where they go, you're not the killer, but we want people to think you're the killer, so kind of give us a take that you kind of look fishy or whatever. Maybe Jeremy wasn't given the best direction by Kevin, I don't know. But then I also know Kevin's very much, hands-on with how he wants lines delivered. And so maybe Jason...
Then he was.
So maybe Jason was very big on, you know, almost copying Kevin, you know, so well that's why his performance is a lot better than Jeremy London's. I don't know, but
then there's like, would you two testosterone-fueled He-Man cut it out with this display of back and forth tough guy action? I got some questions I want answered. Like,
yeah,
you can hear like, all right, you need to watch the first take of that and go, we got to cut some dialogue, or you got to give him a crash course in how to deliver a lot of dialogue quickly. But Brody, like Jason Lee is in the cartoon. He understands he's a cartoon character. Everyone else, like Joey Lauren gets it. She gets this heightened reality. Shannen Doherty gets that she is kind of almost the straight man in a lot of scenes, but still somehow the funniest one in most of her scenes. Claire Forlani, she gets it to an extent, but she's also, I realized this time, not in it that much.
No.
Like she goes away for most of this.
Bookends it.
Yeah. Rooker gets it hands down. He understands what movie he's in, but yeah, it feels like Jeremy London never quite understands. We're not playing this for absolute truth. We are playing this for like as an alternate version of reality. What happens inside the mall is its own universe, and it's like look at Jay and Silent Bob, for God's sake. Like look at what movie you're in. Okay, you got to get on board.
I'm glad you brought up Jay and Silent Bob because Jason Mewes almost wasn't Jay, and that's the other crazy thing. What was that?
He was flat out for a while. He wasn't. He was flat out rejected. It was
going to be Breckenmeyer
and or Seth Green.
Look at Regan. I love that he doesn't know some of this stuff.
Recast from Clerks.
Yes, because he wasn't
going to recast him.
Yes.
Well, Universal wanted him recast, so he was always.
Can you imagine?
I know. Well, obviously no one could in the end, but they flat out said no. Jason Mewes cannot be Jay in this. You've got your buddy to help you out with your little film, but this is a real movie. We're going to get we're going to get it. And they brought in like everyone, and it got down to the final three were Seth Green, Breckenmeyer, and they brought Jason Mewes in just to keep Kevin happy. But they were like, it's between these other two guys. And the other two guys were like, we fucking love Clerks. We don't want to be Jay, but we also like need a gig, but this is wrong. Like you should play it. And at like the 11th, like they made Jason Mewes audition. They made everyone audition over and over and over again for this movie, and did what they called the pizza party auditions, where they would bring everyone in on the same day and then get them to audition multiple parts. So like you're right, Jason, you come in, you're going to audition for TS, and
so chemistry test is
flip it around, and they made Jason Mewes do that. They made him read for all the parts, and obviously not be very good at Brody or TS. And then they kept saying like, no, like Kevin, no. And eventually someone was like, come the fuck on. Like, what are we doing? Like this guy, he makes us laugh. He's hilarious. Every scene he's in is with Kevin. So it'll be great. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah. And then, I kind of feel like Breckenmeyer and Seth Green, one of them or either both were kind of like, we'd love to be Jason or Jay, but this is like the guy. Why? Yeah. Like he's got it. Like why would we? Why would we be doing that? And
so what they wound up doing was they gave it to Mewes, but Seth Green was on standby.
Yes.
And they're like, you're on standby, ready to fly to Minnesota the second this guy fucks it up, and he will fuck it up. So just be ready. And
he's too short.
He's too short.
He's too fucking short, man. You can't. No, that's ridiculous. It would be like if you made a. Actually, no, they did do that. I was thinking Sherlock Holmes, but yeah, Jude Law is quite a bit taller than Robert Downey Jr., isn't he?
Yes, he is.
But you know what I'm saying.
I know exactly what you're saying. Yeah, no, it doesn't work without Jason Mewes, and I think that's one of those beautiful moments in cinema history. I mean, this film has a couple of them, like Stan Lee. The producer knowing Stan Lee and then Stan Lee saying yes and wanting more scenes, so we get more scenes. I think again, Jason Lee, Kevin Smith didn't want him at first. They kept bringing him in, and he kept saying, "Bring him back because this guy makes me laugh. I think he's cool and he's fun to hang out with, but he's not the guy. But bring him back. Like he creates a cool vibe in the room. I like him, so bring him back." And they just kept bringing him back, despite Smith keep continually saying he's not Brody, but bring him back, until it got down to the final couple actors, and he was like, "Fuck, this guy's actually like perfect. I love him." So we almost didn't get Jason Lee as an actor at all. We almost didn't get Jason Mewes carrying on Jay. Rooker only agreed to do it because he got Smith to write him more lines. He was like, I like the part, but it's a nothing part. Give me something to friggin' do. And so Smith wrote him a couple of monologues, like when he pulls TS aside and like gives him the lowdown on what it is,
I have no doubt that you fuck my daughter.
Yeah, that was all Rooker doing it. And essentially, it's quite funny because I didn't pick this up for years, and you guys probably picked this up immediately and think this is insane, but it just took me forever to figure out that the lead characters are Quint and Brody, and Brody's surname is Bruce, and they're all just characters.
It's all Jaws references.
Oh, you just got it? Yeah. So Brody is Brody, and Bruce is the shark, and Quint is Quint.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
See, you guys are real deep in this. Like, my favourite Kevin Smith movie is Chasing Amy.
Well, there you get your Hooper, that he showed up in that one.
Yeah, but I literally, sometimes when I'm in the pool, I play scenes from that movie in my head because I know it back to front, and I've read the screenplay, and I just that. So if we come back, I'll have some shit to tell you about that movie.
Well, I think we have to do all the Kevin Smith movies now.
Yeah.
But that scene with Rooker where he pulls Brody aside is essentially like the Indianapolis speech, where he was like, "Hey, this character needs a little something," and so they kind of let Rooker cook on that one and build it out. It was also his like decision to shave his head. He was trying to figure out how to make himself look older and more menacing, and then without telling anyone, he just was like, "I think this guy would be scary or bald," so he just shaved his head bald and knocked up to set.
Absolutely true.
And Smith was like,
but also the bit that you were saying before that was like, re-outfitted for this other cart of him doing the karate, right? I thought that meant that he was kind of into fitness and how he's got the bottle of water in his little pocket, and then when Brody comes and he's like, "Do you want a chocolate covered present?" He's like, "Dark chocolate." And oh no! Like he's saying no because he's watching his figure or whatever, and that's all Rooker. Like he's just doing
all Rooker.
that. He just makes you feel that the way he carries his. Like he does look like an older guy because he was 40 when he made this.
Yeah,
he does look like an older guy who's not very happy about his body. Because he would have been a young jock probably, and that's all intuited by him, the way he holds himself and his presence and his kind of his moxie and his ego and all that. He's doing some really subtle shit, Rooker. I like his style.
Also, fun fact, when he does the karate scene in the extended cut and the towel falls off, you can see his nutsack and dong.
Great.
Another reason to watch it.
Excellent. So that means, how many dongs have we seen then? Because I've seen Ben Affleck's dong.
Where did you see Affleck's dong?
Affleck's dong is front and center in Gone Girl.
Oh, of course, Gone Girl.
Yes.
Right. I was thinking of Kevin Smith movies. I'm like, when did he get his dick out in the Smith movie?
Fucking must have had a fucking 16mm lens on the shit because it's down to his knee. It's ridiculous. It's the biggest.
I believe it.
That scene. That scene in Showdown in Little Tokyo.
Yeah.
Where Brendan Lee says to Dolph, he's like, "You have the biggest dick I've ever seen on a man." That's how I felt when I went and saw Gone Girl. It is outrageous. It should have been second build.
But
I'm just thinking about other penises.
Are you thinking about just
from
every dick
Mallrats.
you've seen in your life, or just characters from Mallrats whose dicks you've seen? We go through. Do you remember Kevin Bacon in Wild Things when he told me half a pub rule? Remember that one?
That's
You just want to do
serious
celebrity
sausage,
dicks
mate.
for the rest of the episode. Tom Cruise in All the Right Moves. Was it the right spot? You could see his penis.
Do a series. It's going to be amazing. Sorry, what was your question, Cable?
No, not a question, but going back to the Michael Rooker thing, and I think the whole comic book theme, and it works because Gus even said it. He looks a bit like a Lex Luthor, like just shave it off and in the suit. He's the kind of the villain for the movie. It makes sense. It works.
It would have been if he was that age now. He would be Lex Luthor in the Gun movie, in the Gun suit,
and he'd be so
100%.
perfect in it.
Yeah.
I wonder if he's going to show up as Lionel Luthor at some point. He'd be a great Lionel Luthor.
Make it happen. Come
in
on.
the Gun universe.
My favourite Brody line, though, and it still gets me every time because I always forget it. It's where Gwen is trying on underwear not in the change room because that's what's been happening. And Brody comes on wearing underwear over his jeans and he goes, "I would have been a sexy chick."
How much longer are we going to be in this chick store anyway? I'm starting to get a mean hard on.
He's excellent. So excellent.
Renee Humphrey, who is Trish
the dish. Nobody ever calls me that.
15. The actor was 20 when she played the part.
I was going to say she
feel
wasn't.
so uncomfortable. But I mean, I was 15 when I was watching this movie, so that never struck me as being particularly absurd. But then when I was watching it now as an adult, I was like,
money to write the book.
and do you know what company has given her money to write the book? Pendant Publishing. Have you ever heard of Pendant Publishing before?
No.
It's the publishing company from Seinfeld that Elaine works for.
Oh, really?
So Mallrats and Seinfeld take place in the same universe now. That's all canon.
Of course they do.
But I guess, look, like you said, it's we can't take the movie super seriously. But I've always wondered that you've got a 15-year-old doing this study and getting paid a forward to write this book, yet technically she would have to put men in a position where they're actually
Committing a crime.
Again, covered
Committing a
in the
crime.
extended version, because in the extended version, Tia says, "When's the book coming out?" And she says, "Not until I turn 18," to avoid certain legal implications for everyone involved.
See,
Yeah.
So
That
it's,
would've been a good
and
addition.
the reason that LaFours is there at the book signing at the end of the movie
'Cause they're together.
because in the extended version she bangs LaFours, and he's the first one who actually like makes her come hard, and she's like, "Again, let's go."
well,
Yeah.
talking about hanging dongs, Fennel and Dawson, like fucking forget about it.
Renee Humphrey, not
I
much
heard he
of
even
a-
had 2 kills.
career. 37 collars. It took me years to catch that it's 37 collars.
Yeah.
I was just like, never clicked. And then this time when I watched it, I was like, 37. Right.
37.
Yeah, Renee Humphrey didn't really have much of a career after this, which is strange because I thought she was incredible in this. But she did stuff, but she didn't do heaps.
I
In fact,
remember
the
seeing her years, flicking channels, it could have been Foxtel or whatever. I remember seeing her, she was in almost like an erotic type thriller where she was almost nude once.
She actually did more before Mallrats than she did afterwards, which, considering she was 20, is impressive. But the only real thing that I have ever heard of that she popped up in afterwards is Jane Silent Bob Strike Back as Trish again. Drawing Flies, which is, I think, Malcolm, one of Kevin Smith's friends, directed.
Yes.
And
Yes.
that's and an episode of Diagnosis Murder. Like, strange, because I thought she was really, really good, but she didn't blow up, and that struck me as a bit strange. Maybe it was that weird Indies 90s.
It's also like it's one of those weird things where if a woman's in a movie and she's kind of playing a certain part, like this girl was playing, this woman, sorry, was playing a 15-year-old who was getting men into sexual scenarios to then write a book about them. Like, people have weird associations, particularly with women in movies, you know, like, and they'll be like, well, that's that person, and we can't put her in our movie because
Yeah,
it won't
yeah,
attract
yeah,
her,
100%,
but it's someone
yeah.
who's virginal or whatever the fuck.
Yeah,
you know?
100%. Yeah, like Disney movies would have been, known for a particular actress or two that wouldn't get a part because they've played the slutty girl in a previous movie because it's not wholesome enough for them. So
That's why those fucking Wonder Woman movies are a trip, because she's like an Amazon. She's been alive for thousands of years. They've conquered time and technology and space and probably done all sorts of shit, and yet she's completely like mad for one dude. For centuries, like or for decades rather. It's like, why does she have to be like weirdly virginal? Wouldn't she have had all of these extreme experiences being that old? But anyway, you know what I mean.
I do.
I don't want to do that because then it'll ruin Gal Gadot's career.
Eden
She's doing
Suplee,
a
who
really good job of
plays
that herself. But yeah.
Willem in this movie. I don't know if you guys are familiar with this. I certainly am. He's jacked as shit now. Eden
He is,
Suplee
yeah.
is
Yeah, he became a power
fucking
lifter.
unit.
do you know it's crazy? In Mallrats, he's obviously obese in Mallrats, but crazily enough, he looks really big there. But there was a time I think he'd lost a bit of weight, then he put it back on, and he
American
was
History X.
really, really big.
American
Really
History X,
big.
he's like, whew. Yeah, he's crazy big. Yeah, he's like got like an inspirational podcast and stuff. Now he has come out swinging. He also went on to work with Jason Lee on My Name Is Earl for years and years and years. And those two are a great comedy duo. And I love seeing them on screen.
Now that we're talking about it, can I make a confession?
Yes.
I can't see those.
Dong?
I can't see those 3D pictures like him as well. So I feel his pain. I never saw the sailboat. I don't know
You
why.
never
Dumb
saw-
bastard.
Okay, do you want to know the dirty secret of Mallrats?
What?
It's not a sailboat. If you pause it and you
Oh,
stare,
yeah,
it's actually just a series of like cones and circles. It's not even
Yeah, sorry,
like
I'd
a
heard
thing.
that actual picture is not a sailboat, but yes.
It's not a sailboat.
But you know,
The
crazy.
easiest way to
I
do it
also,
is to like go cross-eyed.
You got to like
And then let
defocus
your
your eyes
eyes
and look
rest.
through it, and then it comes back.
oh, don't worry.
Relax your eyes, Cable.
My vision is good.
I got
But,
lunch, a soda.
yeah.
I'm not leaving till one of my favorite scenes has always been just wow, a schooner.
You dumb bastard.
It's not a schooner. It's like the glee in his voice as he calls a small child a dumb bastard has never lost its shine for me. You know what?
It's
Scooter
also
is a
really
sailboat,
specific.
Stuart.
It's not,
You
it's
know
not
what?
the way that It's not the way that we use the word bastard in Australia. Like we just call, oh,
No.
you bastard. Like he's talking about a child, like born out of wedlock, and Kevin Smith does that a couple of times in this movie. I don't know. He's just like, that's an insult that you can give a kid.
Yeah.
Like your parents weren't married
Well,
when you were born.
Smith was raised so Catholic. I'm sure that in his mind that is one of the dirtiest of dirty words.
It must be, yeah.
But yeah, he has it locked and loaded. Like the second that kid says schooner, he doesn't even take a second of. He's like, like he's like, I fucking got you, and he doesn't care that it's a small child. It fucking delights me, and it makes me wish that we got a whole movie where we just follow Willem
Just
around
him
for the day.
For the day.
I just
yeah,
want to like I want the Mallrats sequel to just be Willem in the mall that day, and then you see all the shit that he does like while everything else is going on, and most of it is him just staring at the sign. But I know something happens and he takes a break and he goes, I just want to follow him around. It could be like a Gus Van Sant movie. I wouldn't even give a shit. He just walks around all day. It'd be fucking amazing.
I don't think
Gus,
Gus would do it,
you
but-
grew up in a country town around about this time. Riggs, were you familiar with malls or shopping centres?
Oh yeah,
Like,
yeah. I went
because-
to school in North Ringwood, so Eastland. Was
Eastland,
right
of course.
there, and
So-
Ox, it's where all the cinemas were. So
Yeah.
you would go there, but Eastland was much smaller at the
Yeah.
time. But
Yeah.
I did, and I would go to the mall on the weekend because my comic book shop was there. And,
Yeah.
you know, it was. We didn't call it a mall, obviously, but
Yeah, of course.
there was some association. Can I just ask a question as
Well,
well? Because
no,
Gus
because,
was
sorry.
mentioning-
What? No, because the reason I bring that up, I remember the same thing, the setup of having those 3D things. My shopping centre I used to go to, Greensboro, had a section where they had it, where they were advertising. So I'm like, oh, this is not just in a movie. That was a thing where they were trying to sell those books and sell the novelty of 3D hidden pictures. And I remember that's another reason why I knew I couldn't see the bloody things, because I wouldn't stand there for hours with a soda and a lunch. But yeah,
That makes my heart hurt. Like I feel really bad for how dumb that is. Like I've got lunch and a soda. Like he's so obsessed with seeing this thing. He doesn't want to walk away for 5 minutes to get a fucking Chinese takeout and then come back.
Yeah.
Like it's just I don't know. There's a sweetness to it that makes my heart hurt. The question
Also,
I was
his
gonna ask
response at the end, like when the notes come up at the end about what happens to everyone, and he's like,
He
Willem
finally
eventually
saw
and
it.
he just looks up and he's just like,
Really?
really? Like he's just so happy. Anyway, what were you gonna say, Rex?
You mentioned before I'd like to see a Mallrats sequel. He tried really hard, didn't he? It was going to be a TV show. For
There's
bit,
been
and
a
it was
couple.
Okay, so there's a
already
couple.
CS grown
There's a
up
couple.
and
So the
had
one that
kids.
was originally going to happen, Mallrats 2, he had ready to go because the producers were like, this movie's going to make $200 million and they're going to want a sequel, so be ready. And so it's like, I've got one. And the sequel is Die Hard in a mall. Like it's you know, the whole thing everyone was doing was like Die Hard just in a different place. It's like, it's Die Hard in a mall. It's all these characters, but it's like terrorists and it's Die Hard in a mall. And they were like, great, like write it because we're definitely going to make that. That didn't happen. Then the next one was Twilight of the Mallrats, which was going to be a TV series and it was going to be the kids of all the original ones. And it was when he was putting his daughter and her friends in everything he did. And so it was going to be his daughter and like
Kinda
Lily
still
Rose
is
Depp
doing
and yeah. Yeah, well, in the 4:30 movie, he puts his daughter's fiance in the movie playing him, which that's got to be a weird conversation at home.
Yep.
But now Twilight of the Mallrats is listed, and it has been listed as this for a while, but it's listed as a film in development. But
Yeah, I don't know.
Smith
It's
keeps
like
saying
this
that
legacy
it's
sequel.
gonna happen. It's
Yeah,
gonna
I mean,
happen.
it's
They're gonna do
perfect.
Twilight of the Mallrats.
But there was a time there where they were pretty close. I'm going to say, so we're talking about 30th anniversary now. I reckon 10 years ago, maybe 15 years ago, there was posts. If you go to his Instagram, like there was photos, he was caught up with Shannen Doherty. I don't know if it was
Shannon Doherty was in.
And they were
Jason
saying-
Lee was in.
but there was talk, and I reckon that would have been before. I reckon there was talks of Mallrats before Clerks too. And then all of a sudden he went back to Clerks. He went back to that and then obviously Jay and Silent Bob.
I think because he could get it greenlit.
Yeah,
honestly.
which is
I
it's
know
interesting
that-
because you think he's got enough clout that if he wants to do Mallrats and there's enough, surely they would know how much if they kept the. I don't
If
know.
you're the money man and
Yeah.
Kevin Smith comes and goes, hey, I want to make a sequel to Mallrats, and they go, okay, cool, just remind me how much that made at the box office with the original, and he goes, we lost we lost like $20 million. He goes, sorry, pal, no. I think one of the things that held it up initially when they, because he was talking about this on his podcast a lot, Twilight of the Mallrats, when it went from being a TV show to back to a movie. And the roadblock to getting it greenlit was they're like, well, we want Affleck in it. And at that time, Affleck was like, nah, man, I'm not doing it. But now Affleck's back in the Kevin Smith business. So he oh, look, this is all taken with a grain of salt, but he's open to it now, whereas before it was a flat no. So if you can get Affleck...
So he breaks out of prison.
Yeah.
Oh, well, maybe he's released. Like, by now, he'd be released from prison.
Out of it, yeah. Like, think about the...
I don't know how long you go to jail for statutory rape, but, like, I would be surprised if it was more than 25 years. Yeah. I would say.
America, from state... Weed. Yeah, it's kind of weird in America sometimes, the sentences. Anyway.
But I would really like to see... I'd like even bring back Jeremy London, you know? That'd be fine.
Is he alive?
I'd be fine with that.
Yeah, he is.
He's alive.
He tweets.
That motherfucker works.
Does he?
The only thing that he's done that I've ever heard of is Mallrats, but he has an absurd amount of credits. What's he got? He's up to... Let me see if I can get this.
He's like Michael Madsen.
Yeah, he's kind of like Madsen or like Eric Roberts, where just like people keep asking and he keeps saying...
Eric Roberts has a career purely based on Hallmark movies. And
166 credits.
What, sorry? 166?
Jeremy London has 166 acting credits.
And he's what, like in his mid-40s or late 40s?
Yeah, I think he was born in 72. Sure. So what's that? 72...
53.
There you go.
That's pretty good.
That's like... Well, let's see what Rooker's got, because Rooker fucking works as well. Who's winning that one?
Has to be Rooker, surely.
Yeah, he'll do your movie. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, but he also did a bunch of like series,
Walking Dead and stuff. Yeah.
I mean, he was also
Rooker is
Henry
241.
Like,
so
that's good work. What's that? Sorry.
Well, Rooker has 241 acting credits.
Fuck my hole.
That's
outrageous.
And that's like one TV series counts as one credit, by the way. Yeah. So the man is busy. Yeah. So the reason that Smith wanted Rooker is because one of the producers was like, "Hey, what about Rooker for the dad Svenning?" And he was like, "Fucking Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer? Yes, I want someone that scary to play this character. That'd be amazing." So I don't think Rooker really had to audition. I think he was kind of like, they were like, "We know him, he's cool," and Smith was like, "Yeah, if he'll do it, I'll fucking take him." I think he was like him. Obviously, Stan Lee and maybe Shannen Doherty. I think she had to come in to read, but that was just like so Smith could meet her. I think she pretty much had it. Everyone else got fucking done to death on it. You know what else I realized this time watching this movie? The soundtrack of this movie
is a belter.
It's an absolute fucking banger, start to finish. I think maybe one of the bands on the soundtrack went on to have a career, and that band is Weezer. Like, every song is awesome. Is anyone else? Yeah. Is there any other known band in it?
Wasn't there a Silverchair song in there somewhere?
Seriously?
It's on the soundtrack, but I didn't.
No, I'm pretty sure.
Is it like the one that plays after Suzanne at the end?
No. It's in his room when she starts knocking on his head.
Oh.
Breakfast.
Oh, so it plays.
It's very light. It's very lightly there, but it's there. And I'd forgotten that was a Silverchair song, and then I'll listen to it. Oh, wow, yeah. But yeah, you're right.
Bush. There's a Bush song in there, which I didn't realize.
Cliffhanger was the movie I was thinking. What's the one that I know Rooker from where I first saw him? And
and he's a good guy in that one. It's so weird.
Fucking love Cliffhanger.
Sponge, Wax, Belly, I guess, was around the 90s. Elastic was around in the 90s. Girls Against Boys, all Thrush Hermit.
Okay.
The Goops.
I mean, if you're a hermit, you might have
Squirt Gun. Yeah, Squirt Gun. There's not a single
porno titles.
There's not a single song in this movie when it comes on. I'm not like fucking yes. Yeah, but there's hardly any bands that I'm like, oh fuck, it's such and such.
What's the song like you said that the flea market.
What's the what? Sorry.
The song when they go to the flea market. It's an old song, like it's a '70s song or something.
Oh yeah, that's pretty like they do a it's a cover, I think.
Is it?
in this version. Uh, Fuck, this is great
Well, the
podcast.
Build Me Up Buttercup by the
Looking up.
Goops.
Build Me Up
is it?
Buttercup. Is that what you're thinking of?
But that's when they're rooting in the elevator.
Oh, well then I can't
Yes.
remember what
Yeah,
song
that's
it
right.
is when they go to the dirt mall.
And so they kind of did it before Something About Mary.
They did a lot of things before. Like they did comic books. That's something we haven't talked about. Like the fact that these characters care about comic books and care about pop culture and walk around talking about like whether or not Superman and Lois Lane could have a baby,
Yeah.
and you know these comics should have boards in them, you bloody savage, and like lining up their comics and worshiping Stan Lee. All of that is so normal now, and pop culture to the
Yeah,
point
that's
where
why this is
people
before its
never read a
time.
comic. Yeah, it's so far before its time, and it's all the stuff that is huge now, like
Yeah.
superhero discussions just being a part of day-to-day life, comic books just being a part of the current culture, Stan Lee being a known entity, someone we all worship, people just hanging around shooting shit about stuff that doesn't matter. Like podcasts didn't exist when this was there. Internet didn't exist. Comic culture didn't go beyond like people's basements, and now you watch it, and it's like this movie. It feels like if a person watched it today and didn't know it came out in '95, they'd be like, "Fucking lame ass movies, just ripping off, like lazily ripping off everything." Like, oh yeah, guys sitting around talking about comics, whoop de doo. Like you have to basically sit teenagers down and smack them in the head and be like, "This came out before anyone knew. This came out before anyone understood. You fucking idiots. He was the
You know
first.
how you can tell?
He's the guy."
You know how you can tell? All the people walking past camera, none of them have their phone in their hand.
Yeah, well,
God, it's good. It's
Come
so
too
good.
far, too fast, kids. It's just it was a simpler time when if you wanted to go to the mall with your friend and you called them on a landline, which was the
Yes.
phone that you had in your home, you said, "I'm gonna be outside the comic shop at 10:30 in the morning." And when you got there, the motherfucker was there. That's how you used to organize shit back in the day. And now it's no.
But you know what's
cancel continuous
beautiful about
deployment.
Mallrats is like they just walk around and run into their friends, and everyone's just like there
Yeah.
hanging out, like, "Hey, how's it going?" Like people just hanging out, and that's what
but
it
that's
used
how
to
it
be like.
was. Yeah.
It was so good.
Especially for weekend.
You know what speaking of like people in the background not walking around looking at their phones, what I did clock I watched this movie 2.5 times this week, and I think somewhere around the last half that I was watching, I finally clocked. I was like, oh, everybody in this movie white. Even the
Oh, yeah,
background
it's-
extra. I think even the scene where all the audience is watching the game show, I think every person in that audience is white. All the people working on the set, white. When they're walking into the mall at the first, and there's like extras in the stores, like buying sunglasses and stuff.
Until they make
Everybody's white. Brian O'Halloran was also
Gil
gonna
Hicks.
play.
Oh,
Gil Hicks was also going to play Brody at one point. He was actually the guy that he was going to be Brody, and then he was going to be TS. And then at some point, everyone was like, "I don't think that's a good idea," and so he was kind of, depending on who you talk to, he was kind of not promised, but like told, like, "Hey, my next movie, you're going to play this guy TS, and it'll be great." And so he is not Gil Hicks, Dante Hicks this time. He's Gil Hicks,
yeah.
and I always thought that was because like they're all brothers, but allegedly no, they're cousins. That's how that works. So every time you see Brian O'Halloran show up in a Kevin Smith movie as a Hicks character,
Yep.
he's a cousin of Dante.
Because he's in Dogma
know.
as a reporter, isn't he?
He's in Dogma as a reporter. I think he's in Chasing Amy as one of the studio execs alongside Matt Damon.
Yeah, he's the one.
He's the other one. I think he's another Hicks then.
I want to go to the cheese house.
Yeah.
I don't know what they have. I know it's going to be dairy based, but I wonder what that place is. Do you reckon it's a real place?
I'm sure it was. I'm sure it was a
Jason Lee's
franchise.
response. It's the most bullshit response to an honest question I've ever heard. Look at this guy. He looks like he would beg for sex.
And I should know. We could smell her on.
Oh, fuck.
So did he
Yeah,
kill
Brian
her
O'Halloran
what?
should get more credit for that. He really nails that. He does
The
such a good job.
slimy, completely that reality show version of people, like where you watch it, but they know that you're watching, so it's not actually reality.
Just
so
that
you're really
fucking
watching
loser
nothing.
first year university English lit student who fucking has a car and his dad's old jacket, and he thinks he's top shit, and he goes around just talking big words to girls.
Knows
And he
one
thinks,
opera.
yeah, we can slow dance till the sun comes out. I was like, fuck. Oh, dipshit. No one wants that.
What's
Not
going to
even the
happen is you're going
fucking
to take her on. You're going to take her to make out point after you've been to the cheese house, and you're going to fucking prematurely ejaculate and then drive her home.
And then shit your pants from all that dairy.
Because you know you're lactose intolerant anyway, dude.
That's how you know he's full of shit. Anyone who's like, I'm
parents
going to
just
take
told you
a
that
girl
fondue
on a
was
date
sexy.
to fucking cheese house.
Yeah,
Has never had sex.
I really want to know if it's a real thing.
Well, you can Google would find it because the way it's written in the subtitles, it's kind of got it's in italics. So I'm assuming it was a franchise in the States, some sort of restaurant.
What an interesting pickup. In the subtitles, it says it's in italics, so I think it might be a real place. That's
well, even the way house is spelled,
TM
it's like house is not spelled like our house. It's spelled house like almost like in the German.
H-O-U-S, yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
I'm Googling it.
The cheese house. That would be German, wouldn't it? Lots of sausage there as well.
But a wiener.
It's been a very phallic episode, I must admit.
Very. Well, I did think it was going to be a lot of dick and fart jokes this episode, so
I don't think it's a thing.
disappoint. You don't think it's a thing?
I don't think it's a thing. I don't think there's an actual restaurant train called.
But you know, Deflator Mouse feels like that's a play that gets mentioned in a lot of TV shows when they have to have a default, high end, theatre show. It's Deflator Mouse.
Isn't
Have you
that
noticed
what
that?
they go and see in Batman Begins?
Maybe.
That's probably why
Begins-
it's in there. Maybe that's something that
Is it Deflator Mouse?
Batman talks about going to see. Oh, I thought it was Zorro in the comic books, isn't it?
It's in the comics they've gone to see Zorro, yeah, but in Batman versus Superman it's Excalibur. But in the opera that they go and see at the beginning of Batman Begins, I think it's Deflator Mouse, or it might be Agamemnon, or is that that's from Scream 2? I'm getting everything confused. Fuck my whole.
No, it's not Agamemnon in Scream 2. It's Carmen. It's
Is it?
Yeah, because she's playing Carmen.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Getting everything confused then.
what about did you think the fortune teller Priscilla
Oh yeah.
Barnes,
Yes.
did you think she was super famous for years just because like the way that she's done in the credits? It's like Anne Priscilla Barnes, and then she has this one scene. I mean, again, she's another actor who works took us off. She's on 134 credits, but it took me 20 years before I realized that she's not like a famous actor that Smith got for one scene. She's just an actor.
I was willing to have a third nipple.
Just willing to have a third.
That is some of the best prosthetic
Oh, 100%.
I have ever seen.
The first time I watched it, I was
there's
like,
a nasty
how did you do
close-up
that?
of it and shit.
Also, like, good on us. Well done us that we've gotten
This far
this
in.
far into before we mention the fact that there's boobs in this movie.
There's a few. There's at least 4.
There's 4 boobs in this movie. 4 boobs, 5 nipples. And
That's the name of my ska band.
4 boobs, 5 nipples.
Yeah.
But
we're
that
touring
scene,
with the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones next year.
that scene gets funnier and funnier as I get older, and I think it's because I get less and less distracted by the boobs as I get older. Like as I grow up,
Just
I'm
enjoying the comedy, yeah.
like I just listen to the scene and stop being so distracted. You goddamn little filthy pervert. But it's like it is a hilarious scene, and she is so good in it.
Yeah.
She's so hilarious in that scene. When you think about what she's actually doing, like the way that she weaponizes her third nipple against Jason Lee is it's incredible. His reaction, you can look, I don't mind. No. So
That's disgusting. I think it's the
clear
bit
as
that gets me
day.
is when he's like, you can cut the theatrics, and she's like, I do so much better when I don't have to do it in character. She like slides into this like Burroughs accent, this
It's so good.
New Jersey
She's
accent. Why does she
fucking
put it in
amazing.
her mouth at the end?
I always thought she put it in her mouth, and I was like, oh, maybe it's to like wet it to put it back
Oh.
on. But she puts it in her mouth, and she chews and swallows it. And goes, So I guess it's a candy nipple.
A candy nip? I mean, why aren't they just like, you should go into the milk bar, there should be curly whirlies, a chocolate Kit Kat, a candy nip,
Tasty titties. Num 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 num.
tasty titties,
Tasty
right next to
titties. Oh, yeah.
fads, you know, that used to be something else, and now
Right.
like not cigarettes at all.
Right next to what, Regan? What are they?
Fads.
Fads.
You know the ones I'm talking about? The
Yeah,
little
but
musk
remind me
stick things
what
that
they used to be called.
cigarettes.
Can you remember what they used to be called before they were called fads?
Yeah, I do. I remember.
What were they called?
Give me a pack of fags.
They were called.
I was trying to get Regan to say it.
I'm not going to do it. This isn't
Why?
my show. I'll get in trouble.
Why would you
But
get in
he'd
trouble?
say it because he'd
I don't
say it
know.
in a way that sounded like a slur. He just would, not even on
Yeah.
purpose. He'd
It would
accidentally
come
say,
out
and then,
that way, wouldn't
and
it?
then
Yeah.
we'd clip it, and that would be what we put on the social.
We were doing an episode the other day on Chef for my show. You know the show that John Favreau filmed,
Yes.
Chef, and I said the C word. It was just,
Chef. I mean, it's pretty hard to talk about the movie without saying the title.
Well done, well done. But I had to cut it out because we were talking about. We had on our you guys doing? We had on our pal Juan, who's from Chicago, but he's Hispanic. He's Puerto Rican and Mexican, and we were just talking about colloquialisms and food from different nations because Addie's he's Indian, and we're just talking about stuff like. And I was talking about language, and I just said we use the C word a lot here, but I said it, and I was like, I'm going to have to clip that out. I can't just be saying the C word on podcast. It's terrible.
Why not? Go for it. That's what the internet's for.
Yeah, no, it felt forced. Candied nipple though and dong
Yeah.
all day.
Candy
long.
nipple dong. Yeah. Candy nipple and dong just is going to be. We're not even releasing this episode. It's just going to be clips of you saying candy nipple and dong.
I'd
Zero-
wear it too. I'd be totally fine. I'd share that
Zero
with
context will be offered.
everybody. Yep.
It currently sits as like a 7.0 ranking on IMDb and other places.
Really?
It's come back around. Yeah, it's come back around as a film that people respect and care about and like. Now, and I was trying to think about it this time when I was watching it. Is there really anything like, or with the understanding that we're talking about like a stoner comedy essentially that has some dirty jokes, but it's really not that dirty comparatively. Like, yes, there's some dirty jokes, but it's not a filthy R-rated comedy. Like, I think it's an M15 in Australia. Is there really anything
I'd make
to?
the argument that both Clerks and Chasing Amy are dirtier.
I would say Clerks is definitely dirtier. Is there anything
Clerks
to
talks
dislike about this
fucking
movie?
snowballing and shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like this. Like, even when they're talking about Gwen having sex with that guy, they say bang, like you banged him on a gaming table. Although he does say you fucked Rick Derris, but like, they're not overtly vulgar. They're not. There's nothing grotesque. There's nothing. Obviously, some of the content is like the 15-year-old who's having sex with people, but that is almost weirdly like empowering in the sense that like she is doing this for research. Like, everyone is on board. Everyone can. They talk about consent. I don't think I ever heard anyone talk about consent in 90s movies.
Yeah.
When she's talking about you film them, she's like, I get everyone's consent.
Guys usually get off on it.
Guys, yeah, but like
All
all
the
the
guys in
guys are
this
totally
movie-
okay with it. Yeah,
All the guys in this movie are fucking idiots, and all the women
a
are
genius.
fucking right on. Like,
Yeah.
It's he's always written women really well. Like, I know he got a lot of backlash for Chasing Amy because from the gay community because they said it was disingenuous at best for a lesbian or a person who identified as a lesbian to then go on and just fucking code switch and be with a dude.
See, that's another one that I think has aged well. Like, he was ahead of the game because in the 90s, it was gay or straight. Those were
Exactly.
your
Yeah.
And now we are like, gender is a spectrum, sexuality is a spectrum, and then not just bisexuality, but pansexuality and like the types of attractions that people have to people have been expanded so vastly that the concept of a human being only attracted to one sex and that's it is quite diminished now. And I think Smith is kind of onto it where, it seems almost like maybe she's discovering she's not a lesbian, but she's more bisexual or even pansexual, where she's attracted to the person rather than the gender.
It's definitely pansexual.
I'm not saying it's
If you
written
watch that
really,
movie
really
with a
elegantly,
modern
but I
lens-
think, yeah, if you watch that now, you could see that as a character who is rediscovering their sexual identity because they've fallen in love with a man. They're like, I think I'm learning something about myself.
and it only like restricted that because she felt like she couldn't find what she wanted within that sex, but
Yeah.
that was a choice thing. That wasn't an actual natural progression for a person. And look, it's 2025. I enjoy dong and hairy nipples, so. And I'm a 42-year-old man. You know, you can get down on whatever you like. So yeah, he was ahead of the curve for sure.
He absolutely was, and there's no, I think there's no menace or any ill will in anything that he's written in that movie. So I think that's aged quite well. I think Mallrats has aged really well. Like you talked about, like all of the women are very smart in this movie and really independent. And the reasons, I know it's like a cartoony movie with a bunch of idiots running around, but the reasons that Brandy and TS wind up together and the reasons that Brody and Renee wind up together kind of track as these guys, yeah, they're fucking idiots, but they're lovable idiots, and they're not doing anything to hurt them necessarily. Like Brody learns his lesson a bit and is like, do you want to come meet my mother? Like, I've realized like I was being a fuckhead. And I don't know what TS learns in this, but I guess he learns to be honest. I'd love to see how that marriage is going. I really want to see the sequel to see if they're still together.
Well, Claire Forlani's currently dating the embodiment of death. And oh no, hang on, that's a different movie altogether.
Me too, Black.
Doesn't matter. Forget what I was talking about. It's a different one. It's Brad Pitt. It's Brad Pitt who gets hit by a car.
I mean,
spoilers.
Spoilers.
Okay, it happens in the first like 10 minutes of the movie. If you haven't seen, also it's like almost 30 years old, that movie. If you haven't seen Meet Joe Black, it's long. All right, it's a long movie. Martin Brest needed an edit for that one, definitely.
Yeah, I kind of liked it though. I don't know.
I love it. I think it's
never
great,
hated
but
Meet Joe
it's
Black.
a long movie.
I don't know why people hated it.
And the bit where Brad Pitt does the fucking Jamaican accent's pretty funny as well.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I retract my previous statement.
Yeah, it's rough. It's
Oof.
rough. Talk about things that don't age well. Fuck.
But he was talking about Mallrats being not as crude. Even the joke with having sex with a woman in an uncomfortable position, and they don't actually say it, and it's like you know what they're talking about, but it's kind of
like the characters are genuinely confused. Like they're kind of innocent idiots there. Whereas like what, like the back of a Volkswagen? Like that's not like a bit. That's them being like, I don't understand what you're talking about. What do you mean? What?
Christian.
Yeah, and the idea that like Affleck's character is run around trying to have anal sex with people, it's like, oh, what a weirdo. Like it's quite prudish in that regard.
I also love the fact that he had sense of humor enough to do it, because I mean he probably would do it more now, but when his career kicked off, there's absolutely no way post Armageddon he would be in a movie where he was a sex pest who was into butt fucking. Like it would be so bad for his brand.
Yeah, but this is
goes
still
to jail
very
for statutory. You're right. Like
there's no way he would do that.
But this
Affleck
is still
almost didn't do
before. This is still before Good Will Hunting and that. Surely.
It's before they made it, but it's after they sold it.
Yeah.
So Affleck had done Dazed and Confused. And again, this guy, Jim Jacks, like brought it all together, this producer. So Affleck did Dazed and Confused where he played a bully who beat people up. And then he got offered this part in Mallrats. He's like, do I really want to be the bully who beats people up again? But he read the script and was like, oh, this Smith guy is like pretty funny. This sounds like it might be a bit of a good time. And it's not that many days shooting. But the day he came in to meet Smith, the report came out in Variety that these two actors, Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, had just sold this script for like $800,000 to Miramax. And it was going to go into production with Gus Van Sant attached. And so when he went in, Smith was like, what the fuck are you doing here? Like, I'm glad you're here, but didn't you just sell your script for like $800,000? You don't need to be in this movie. And Affleck was stunned. He was like, how do you know about that? He's like, it was in Variety this morning and I read it. And he's like, oh my God, I can't believe people are like, care about it. Like, he was so far away from what he has become.
If he
was
only
just like,
knew.
I'm just a guy trying to get a gig. I think he was like 25.
Yeah, he's still pretty young.
Innocent idiot.
But if he only knew like where his celebrity would take him, and the shit that he would eat for years over his alcoholism, over his
Gambling.
portrayal of Batman, his marriage. You know, like he's directing, 3 bangers and then doing Live by Night, which is actually awesome, but everyone forgot about it because he was playing Batman. Like, yeah, it's such a fucking toxic environment.
You know what? He was the bomb in Phantoms.
He was the bomb in Phantoms.
Also, I think he was an incredible Batman. Everyone should shut the fuck up. He was an incredible Batman,
great.
and he was an amazing
really
Bruce
good.
Wayne. And everyone should shut the fuck up and leave him alone. I think I want him back as Batman in an alternate universe, but with a better director.
Just do Dark Knight Returns. Like, do it legit.
Oh God,
He would be perfect for it now. And let him direct the shit as well. Like, he's an awesome director.
Shit, I would love that. Yeah, he's an incredible director. He
And
just
didn't they want him? I'm pretty sure they wanted him to direct a Batman film at one point.
he
wrote the
was
script.
going to direct
Yeah.
And
his
then
own Batman
it went
film.
to
Matt
Matt
Reeves.
Reeves was going to direct it, and then
And then
he was
Affleck was
just going
out
to be in
completely.
it because he didn't want to pull double duty. And then they decided to pull the plug on the whole thing, and Reeves started from scratch and hired that sparkly vampire kid.
Robert
Good
Pattinson,
time.
who's also
Very powerful.
great in this version of Batman. I love it. But yeah, Affleck is incredible, and he's great in this movie, and he's gone on to be great. We don't no one talked about the fact Kevin Smith wound up being a producer on Good Will Hunting as well because of the relationship that him and Affleck had on this movie. So technically, Kevin Smith is an Oscar winner because he was a producer on Good Will Hunting. But this movie, it's sort of come of age now. It's more, I mean, it's easy to find now because it's finally been released really well and widely on DVD. Currently, you can't stream it anywhere without paying money. You have to rent it on like Apple for $4.99.
They're still trying to recoup their money.
It'll probably never be streaming for free.
Yeah.
Like, we are getting every penny out of everyone. Look, they got my $60 for the Blu-ray, whatever it was. But it has come of age now, but it also feels incredibly timeless. Like, I watched this movie, and you talked at the start, Riggs, about like, is it nostalgia that makes this so good, or is it, us remembering our own like teenage years? And I don't think it is. I think this movie is just, it's brilliant to watch. It's beautiful. It looks great. The camera moves a lot, especially for a Kevin Smith movie.
Yeah.
There's some pretty cool shots. The score is incredible. I wish they'd released the score. They haven't. I think it's Ira Newborn might have done it. The score and then also the soundtrack that they did is amazing. The actual version we got, the editing is great. Like, there's nothing. Is there anything in this movie to dislike? I'm trying to figure out why it was so lambasted when it came out, why people like shit all over it. And
Well, we
I
said
wonder-
before, because it was ahead of its time. People
Yeah.
weren't ready for it. And now,
But what is there to
people look back on it
dislike
and go,
now,
it's
or then
offensive.
what was there to dislike about this movie? In
No, but I just
1995?
I just don't think it got given a chance. Like, you think about it, they think it's going to be this huge film, but look, I didn't know what Clerks was prior to that. Clerks wasn't a massively released for film either. So you go into the sequel and they put Universal invest all this money into it. When I say all this money, it was like what, $8 million or something like that.
Yeah,
And
I
you
mean,
bring
$8
it,
million in '95 too. So
yeah, but
it meant more back then.
and then you put this movie out. But again, if people don't know what it is, like you said, there was confusion over people weren't sure about the poster. What are they looking at? Is it a movie? Is it a comic? Is it a magazine? Like, there was, you've got to find that in. And I think for me, it was Shannen Doherty being on the cover of the video cassette. So, I mean, that's where I think from a marketing point of view, they mismarketed the movie to start with. And then if there's not good word of mouth initially and people aren't going to see it and it opens up 500 screens and it bombs, well, it doesn't mean it's a shit film. It just means financially it's not worth having at the cinemas. So then it's almost a straight-to-video kind of scenario. And that's how people have to find it. I think the fact that Kevin thought it was a failure because financially it was a failure doesn't mean the movie was shit. Like, how many movies?
No, but I'm
Yeah.
trying to think. Like, it did get bad reviews. Like, Roger Ebert.
Well, that's true. That's
Absolutely
true too.
shredded it. Smith tells a story about he flew into LA. He was driving to the premiere, and he was listening to the radio in his car as he's driving to the premiere. And the DJ on the radio was talking about how he caught this movie at a press screening last night called Mallrats, and it's fucking terrible, and
It's
everyone
like,
should
don't
stay away
waste your
from it.
time.
It's just a huge waste of time.
And I think he was with Joey Lauren Adams on that ride too, was he not?
Yeah, I think you're right.
So they both go, oh, this is...
But like, it just, I can't understand. I can understand how like an older critic would go to a movie and be like, this movie
Yeah.
is just a bunch of. I can't understand how audiences and marketers couldn't find a way to this movie. Like, it's got a young, attractive cast,
Yeah.
even if you don't know who any of them are. It's got a fucking kick-ass soundtrack. The
It's a big
director had
box comedy.
real
Like they did
buzz.
really well back then. You know,
Yeah.
that was the decade for big box comedy.
Absolutely. And it's like he's an indie kid coming off a huge Sundance success. You know, Dazed and Confused is a big success already. You've got, the predecessors like Fast Times at Ridgemont High kind of setting the tone for this sort of stuff. Any kind of like slacker all in one day comedy that audiences would just go and hang out and watch. This has got it. It just seems like such an anomaly. It seems like if this movie had stayed in cinemas another like 2 weeks, it would have like to the moon. People would have cottoned on, word of mouth. People like us one of us would have seen it, gone to school, told their friends. Someone like would have gone to see it, driven home, told their housemates, gone to uni, told their friends, gone to work, told their friends, and it would have built on word of mouth, and it would have been a big deal. I think it's just a sliding doors moment where
Yeah,
someone's
100%.
like, 400,000, nah, forget it, we're out, like cancel it, we're done, and it's over, and it baffles me. It absolutely baffles me.
No, but I think you hit the nail on the head. It's sliding doors. I think marketing, they just didn't market it right, or they just didn't find a way to tap into the audience that might like this film. And like apparently, Gus, you'll have to back me up on this. I believe they did do a viewing at one of the Comic-Con type events,
Yeah, and it
went,
killed.
and they thought it was like all that, and that's the problem. Like, yeah, okay, you've hit that market, but enough of those people talking about it, enough people sharing it. Are you tapping into that enough? And then, like you said, an older audience is not going to like this film, so they're not going to review it positively. So that's your problem too. You don't have young people writing saying, "Well, this is a great film. This is a lot of fun."
It feels like a huge failure of marketing to like not get this in front of the right people and to not have the right marketing campaign put behind it, because it's absurd. Like he retreated from this and did Chasing Amy. That was like oh god, I've got to get back to my roots. What kind of fucking idiot was I to think I could make big studio comedy? So he went and did Chasing Amy because it was more like Clerks, and everyone was like, yeah, he's back, he recovered, he's great, he's good again.
Well, there's controversy.
And on
on
the
that
back
film,
of that screenplay, before it had even been produced, he was getting rewrite work. That's how he
Yes.
got the Superman Lives script, and
But then
sort of
he-
became a known entity.
He went on after Chasing Amy to do Dogma, which is incredible. And like I said, I think it might be his best movie, but that was like backlash central. Everyone was fucking
Oh, the
coming out. He was
protests.
getting death threats. He
But
was
again,
getting
like he was ahead of his time. It was having a discussion about where like the modern understanding of being a human and things like working in an abortion clinic meets the old fashioned ideologies and of religion, and how like the proxies for the confusion are two angels. Like it's light years ahead of anything that was going on at that time. No one would have had the balls to do it.
yeah. He's taken such a beating and come out in the arc of time really well.
Yeah.
But goddamn, like if you look at, Clerks, out of nowhere success, Mallrats, bomb, Chasing Amy, redemption story, Dogma, death threats, the Clerks cartoon cancelled. Like he got beaten on every single direction. Jay and Silent Bob, bit of a success. Jersey Girl is his next movie. He gets the shit kicked out of him.
Which isn't bad.
It's not bad. It's a good movie.
No.
It's a good movie, but he more than any other director, I think, just like keeps getting fucking knocked down. And I'm glad that after Mallrats he kept going, but I'm glad he made Mallrats at all, because I think, had he made Chasing Amy second and Mallrats third, I don't know if Mallrats would have happened. I don't know if we ever would have got this movie. I think
Absolutely not.
that's the other sliding doors. This movie was so unlikely to happen in the first place. Thank God it did. So I'm overjoyed. What a fucking movie. What a prequel. What a great prequel.
It's
Or
a
sequel,
banger.
depending on the version was.
Straight up banger.
Yeah. If anyone, I don't know why you would have listened to the podcast this far if you hadn't seen it, but if you have listened to this podcast this far and haven't seen it, go watch this fucking movie.
Go and watch the director's cut. Apparently, check
Go
it
watch,
out.
yeah. Go watch everything you can find about it.
I'm gonna do it myself.
Yeah, it's worth it. It's great. This film's great. I love it. Man, it's fun to talk about this movie with you guys. This is so good. Riggs, thank you for coming on again.
Always a darn
and
pleasure,
talking
friends.
about dongs. It's always great.
Getting nips.
Cable, lovely to see your face in real life again. And everyone, thank you for listening. Remember, like, subscribe, follow, share, all the things that podcasts tell you to do, because it helps so much. It really does. And if you have done it already, thank you. We love you so much. And Riggs will show you his dong if you want, consent only.
Send me, DM me now, and you'll get some dong, some sweet dong.
But until you do get that dong, just remember, not all sequels suck. Goodbye, everyone.
Fly, fat ass, fly!
Well done.
Hey, sequels suck fans.
By definition alone, they're inferior films.
I almost sequel remake. A quick warning of
Sequels suck.
this episode is spoilers.
Suck.
Over.